Hi there. I am just waiting to drop off some summer learning resources for a friend, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. Learning doesn't just happen at school, and many families do a little bit of learning every day, all summer long. And this is the difference between the kids who are excelling and the kids who are struggling. It's not that the kids are inherently more intelligent and that's why they're doing better. It's largely the practice that is being put in and the support that they're receiving. So many of my friends, when I was a kid, their families would do some spelling or some math every morning at the kitchen table. Many of my friends now that I'm an adult, when they were kids, their families supported them in this way with doing a little bit of review, a little bit of practice at home every day. That's a little bit of math, a little bit of reading, a little bit of writing. For me, when I was a kid, this was a requirement not from my parents but from my teacher for me to be able to advance to 6th grade. She said, you got to be putting in work over the summer to be at the level you need to be at. So today I'm dropping off resources for a student who is finishing 5th grade but at a lower academic level. And the pieces of home learning that we're practicing every day are reading, writing, and math. So I'm just going to show what we have here for each of those. Reading is probably the most straightforward. Pick a book, have the child read it out loud. So I've got a whole bunch of these small decodable books. Often you can see these are very thin books. They're offered for free through a lot of programs. These are the Bob's books, and I really like the Bob's books, and then I stuck a bunch of extra books in there too. The Bob's books have fairly positive messaging and are very simple progression through learning the different letter sounds. They're very intentional about how they present things. So I have about 30 books there to get this kid off to a good start for the summer with reading every day. Pick a book and read it out loud every day. And that means your child is reading and you might be sitting next to them listening attentively. Try not to interrupt or say too much, but go, wow, that looks like a thirsty bunny there. I wonder what they're doing. And then you can put your finger here and wait. What's this word? You know that one. Okay. Okay. Try again. Right, jug. And try not to use too many extra words because it can distract them. And then when they're done, you can repeat back the whole thing, or they can repeat back the whole thing together to understand that whole sentence. First kids are ta, ha, j, g, f, u, at, er. And then you want to be putting it together. The jug of, u, at, or water. Then put all of that together. The jug of water. So that they're understanding what the story is actually saying and getting some comprehension. So when I'm picking out books, I'm not going to read every one, but I flip through and I look for how many words are on a page and how big the type is as some good indicators of how complex of a book it's going to be. And if it has a lot of 3-letter words and large font, I think that's going to be a lower reading level. And if it has smaller font, more sentences, whole sentences, multiple sentences per page, then that's looking like a more complex book. I don't want to overwhelm and intimidate this kid, but I don't want it to seem like baby stuff either. I want it to be challenging and interesting and rewarding, but not overwhelming. So I have sort of a range, and the kid can pick the book, or the adult can pick the book, or you can take turns and try to read at least one book every day. Or read for 20 minutes every day if it's an older child who's able to read for longer periods of time. The next part, writing. I have some of these great notebooks here that have space to draw and lines to write on. I like these ones that have the 3 lines, the dotted line in the middle, for kids who are still learning to read or learning to write clearly. This is another brand that is Draw and Write Journal from Lakeshore, and it also has, this one has fewer picture spaces and more word spaces, so it's aimed at a little older of a child than this one is, but it's got it still has that dotted middle line to work on really clear penmanship and careful letters, but space to draw a picture every day also, because that can be rewarding, and it can also be another way to communicate, to add some more message and some inspiration for them to write about. So draw the picture first and then describe it, or write something and then how could you draw a picture of that, and is there anything else you want to add to your writing. And I would say a sentence per year they are old, a sentence per grade they are in. You can look at Common Core standards, but a 10-year-old should be able to write a paragraph, and a kindergartner is writing words, a first grader is writing a sentence. So second and third graders are writing 2 or 3 sentences. I like all of them to write 3 to 5 sentences, regardless of age. One fun writing activity you can do is give them a word like pizza and write down everything that comes into your mind. I like to eat pizza. I like pepperoni pizza. I had pizza at my friend's house and it was their birthday, and I hope for my birthday I get to eat pizza, whatever. So that can be an inspiration. You could tear a picture out of a magazine and glue it in there, and then write the story that you make up that goes with that. So lots of ideas for writing. And then with that, I also picked up one of this. This is at 5th grade level instead of the second, third grade level that I was grabbing other resources at. But this is, I was liking this one. And this is at grade level, and it has write a paragraph about your favorite movie using 10 different adjectives. So it has a little lesson about adjectives and some practice. They wanted what kind of pet for their, or an adjective pet for their birthday. Do you want a dog that is adjective or a cat that is adjective? So it's practicing adjectives and then writing a paragraph. So that's sort of fun, and a kid can do one of these pages, and that's enough. Getting a little practice every day. So that's a different option from just free writing. And then this is the math program that I've been really enjoying, the Singapore Math, and this is the 2B workbook. So each year, each grade has a part A and a part B, and you can see this is a very thin book, which I like. It's not so intimidating. There's very, very few words on these pages, which I like. It says match the amounts of money in words and in figures. So here it says $23, and here, oh, that's the one that says $23, and you match. This one, that one's cheese and mice. It's the same thing. It breaks. They do a lot of breaking numbers into 2 pieces, so you can sort of visualize how subtraction and addition are different sides of the same equation by leaving out which part is missing. They have lots of word problems in here, and then they have a lot of like decode the joke or riddle or secret message or whatever by solving the equations, and then that also self-checks that you have to, that if it doesn't make sense at the end, that means that you didn't get the answer right, and that the answer needs to be one of these things down here. So that's a good way to self-check for kids also. If like, did you get it right? Okay, try that one again. And some of these are coloring, and it really does go through all of the skills that they're supposed to be learning. It's got fractions in there, it's got multiplication, it's got time, money, addition, subtraction, and it's really working on mental skills of understanding math, not just the system, I carry the 1 and but understanding what you're doing and why. Okay, so that's 10, 20, 30. I'm adding not 1 and 3, but 10 and 30. Okay. And cute pictures, simple pictures, enough to sort of make it interesting and fun, but not too distracting, because math does need a lot of repetition to learn. So here we have birds finding their eggs, and it's amazing how much more motivating putting the number on a bird is than just having it on a piece of paper for kids. So anyway, I really like that. And if a kid, I like to do 3 pages a day. If they do 1 page a day, that's great. Do a little math every day. If they start at the beginning and progress through, then skills build, and it is much more helpful for kids. Often kids want to find one that has a riddle on it, or they want to find one that has coloring, or oh, this fractions, that looks easy, it's shapes. So they'll skip around, and I would say if sometimes they want to pick a random one, that's fine, but then the next time you're going back to where you left off in the beginning and getting that progression. But if every once in a while they want to say, can I solve the last problem in the book? They probably can with your help and support. Some things to think about as you're helping kids with their math is, what's the first thing that we can do here? So that's a good question to ask kids. Like, what's the first thing? I see that it's 125 minus 145. What do you think we should do first? And then wait. The other thing you can do is read the question again. So there's word problems particularly. A boy could cut 20 that means 20 meters of rope into 5 equal pieces. Find the length of each piece of rope. Let's read that again and see if we know what to do first. A boy cut 20 meters of rope into 5 equal pieces. Find the length of each piece of rope. Okay, do you know what to do first now? Should we draw a picture to help? Is this going to be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division? What do you think? So try to guide and support without doing it for them. And if you need to walk a kid through it more explicitly, then you're thinking out loud in little pieces. So I've got 12 plus 6. Okay, that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, that's 18. So, or I'm going to not say the last number. Make sure the kid is following along, that they're paying attention. They're the one writing it down. So you can go, so I'm going to add 6, so 12. What comes next? 13, 14, 15. 18. Yep, there it is. You got the answer. Okay, let's write that down. You write that down right here. So you can be helping and supporting without doing it for them, and helping them through that explicit, what am I thinking? How did I get that answer? Walking it backwards. So when I'm adding 12 plus 6, am I counting up? Well, I'm doing 6 plus 2 is 8, and then it's 10 more. So that's 18. So different ways you can solve it. And talking through what it is that you're doing and slowing it down, breaking it into little tiny pieces. And it's hard with math because most of us do things so quickly we don't even realize what we're doing. And if you ask someone to explain, how did you know it was that? They're like, I just knew. And you're like, that doesn't help other people understand. So figuring out how to explain what it is you're doing, how you got there, slowing it down into little pieces, and letting the kid go ahead of you, that they solve it before you get there as you're slowly talking through your method. So that's some strategy there. The last book I have here, I'm trying not to overwhelm this family with too many resources, but this is the Brain Quest workbook. And I've been really enjoying this Brain Quest second grade workbook. And it goes through, it's a big book. It has lots of color, not too much on each page, lots of space for kids to fill it in, lots of pictures, but not too busy. Each page is really a kid's own project on that page. Some things are use both pages of the spread, and some are just one side of the spread. And the thing that really, so here in the beginning of the book, they're doing some blended sounds, erd, sk, erk, t, nt. So they're blending, but then what I really liked, which is silly, but I just was like, yeah, way to go, second grade, is it has a bit in here like, how many different ways can you make the oi sound? It could be O-I, O-Y, O-U, or O-W, and those all say, oh, clown, boy, coin, cow. So, or some of those are oi and some of them are ow. And so we're sorting, but some are oi, some are oy, some are ou, some are ow. And sorting those vowel combinations. And then the other one was all the different ways, right? All the different ways we can make a. That's what I was thinking of. That's why I misspoke. So it could be a consonant e, it could be a y, it could be a I, and then which of those vowel combinations go with which word to make to be spelled right. Paint, cake, okay, cage, play, mail. So they all have the a, but they're spelled 3 different ways. Oh my gosh, spelling is hard. Here's 4 different ways to say E. Oh my gosh. So learning those spellings and those letter combinations really explicitly, and it has a word bank here, it has writing it in the blank, it has writing it again down here, sorted into the 4 categories of which letter combination it is. I really enjoyed that. This book also really builds on skills. So at the beginning, we've got phonics, and it's like, what letter does this start with? Ends with og, starts with duh. There you go. So it's pretty basic. So 2nd grade, that's where it's at. But then it quickly builds from there to get more complicated. So the beginning is this early phonics sort of stuff. And then they move on to spelling and vocabulary, which is where those A sounds are. And this is a lot more complicated than what letter does dog start with, right? Of all the different ways to make E. From there, it's going into language arts, which is having kids write full sentences about different topics, fixing punctuation and capitalization errors, and going on from there. And then it has reading, and so the reading it's getting longer sections of text and then answering questions in sentences about it, so on and so forth. And then then it has writing, so this is getting more complicated. It's getting write out your whole directions with your title, your ingredients, and your steps of your recipe. That's technical writing. This is way more advanced than the first letter in dog. So it's really, really building through skills rather quickly here. And I think this is great. This is a really great level where it's taking it from a very low level all the way through to a pretty good comprehensive place. It's got cursive in here, which I think is fun because a lot of people just don't do cursive, but all the kids I work with are like really enamored with cursive and want to do cursive, and they think it's exciting and fun to make all your letters stick together. It used to be that kids learned cursive first because it was thought to be easier, and all the kids seem to agree that because we don't teach it, they want it. Of course. So there's lots for fun. And then this book also has math skills in it. So if you didn't want to get a whole stack of different books, this has a little bit of everything in it, which is pretty great. So we've got math skills, and it goes through multiplication, multi-digit, addition and subtraction, early multiplication, single-digit multiplication, comparing numbers. It has a little bit of everything. It does not have nearly the... No, I mean, it seems to have a little less than what is in here. It's just a little more concise because they're having all subjects in here, but it does have quite a lot of math, and it's got different shapes. It's got the fractions, it's got units with pounds and things, time and money, all of that. So this is the math section, and it's fairly comparable, but I would say less because it has more pictures on the page and less work a little bit. And then, like I was saying, it's building, so instead of just learning what verbs are, we're applying all that writing and sounding out that we did earlier to talk about government and the states and world geography and things like that. And then there's history, whatever. And then there's a science section. So again, it's applying our reading and writing and math to science. And so this is also sort of reviewing in many ways what was covered earlier as far as those skills. So that's why social studies and science are at the very end, because it's using the skills that you were building earlier. And then there's stickers at the back, and there's this really fun, oh, this is different than the one I had. They've got a map of the United States, and this one, another one that is the same grade 2 Brain Quest, a different edition year. They have like a trail of all the units, and you get to put a sticker on all what you've completed. But this has stickers in the back as well. Little kids love stickers. And it's got answer key, so if you don't know what's supposed to happen, it's got some help back there. But again, with this one, if you start at the front, it's great. It builds on skills. If kids want to do cursive today, if they want to do math today and they want to skip around, that's just great too. And especially with if you're doing your math in here and you're reading and writing, then you want to be putting a sticky note to mark your place. Have a bookmark of where you're at in math and where you're at in reading and writing, so that you're doing some of each. But this is really great because it is one book and it's got all your curriculum for the whole that whole grade level, which is great. And so I hope that you will do a little bit of reading, writing, and math every day at home. Support your kids. If you do 30 minutes of written math, beyond just mental math, but like 30 minutes of focused work on math every day, then that comes out to be about what they spend in public school on math, because public school has class 180 days a year instead of 360 days a year. So, and they have a lot of classroom management time, and they have a lot of transitions and special events and everything else. So if you could do half an hour of math every day, you are doing really great. But that consistency of every day, and with the consistency, it makes it easier for kids because there's no fighting and struggling. They know what happens next. I do my work and then I'm ready for my screen time, or to go outside and play, or dessert, or whatever it is that you do after your learning time. My kids like having my attention, and so it is the calm thing that we do, snuggling on the couch. When I am able to give them attention, I say, do you want to come snuggle and read to me? Awesome, I'm up for that. I don't want to do run around screaming games right now, but I'd love to be read to. If you want to just read me a book, do you want to pick the book, or should I pick the book? How about you read me a book and then I'll read you a book? So when it's a routine, it makes it easier. And when they're reading a book every day, they're writing, doing any kind of writing, whether it's workbook kind of writing or it's free choice writing, both good choices. And they're just doing some writing every day, and reading a book, reading something every day, and doing about half an hour, 20-30 minutes of focused math time, working through a curriculum where it's building on skills every day. That'd be super great. I'd be so stoked for all of our kids to be well supported and be successful in their learning, and have all the opportunities that come with that.